It's a top mount handle, and this is a Ram brand. It's a 3,000 to 5,000 pound jack, so 3,000 lift capacity, 5,000 support capacity. And then I've got my jack foot on it. Nothing special about it. It's the 3-bolt type flange. So let me show you what I'm going to replace that with. I'm sure you guys have seen videos on YouTube where you can use an impact or a drill with a socket on it and a special setup, and you can raise and lower the jack on the trailer without having to use the hand crank handle. So what I did is I actually looked all over here locally, because I thought I'll just buy something local if I can. Couldn't find a single one, so I ended up getting on Amazon. It's kind of my go-to, and I found this Bulldog, and this is actually a 5,000 pound lift capacity, which is, most of these are a 5,000 static and 3,000 lift. This is actually 5,000 lift, 5,000 static, and it's got it's a top mounted, just like the one that's on the trailer, but it has this extra bracket on top, and it brings with a gear, and it brings the handle out to the side. And for what I'm doing, this is perfect. So what I've done so far, I just removed these 2 bolts, which are 7/16 nut, and remove that top cap. And then I cleaned the grease out of the gear so I could see what was going on there. And I used my my punch and my hammer to remove this pin. So that pin is the only thing that keeps the gear in place. Okay, so now that handle comes out. Okay, and of course you've got a washer on each side. You've got your gear. I want to keep all that clean. All that's going to get reused. So all I'm going to do is fabricate this piece right here. Just basically recreate that piece, and on where the handle would make the 90 right here, instead there's going to be a long nut, an elongated nut, that I can then use my impact on to raise and lower the trailer. And then I'm going to take this handle, and I'll probably utilize that hole, because I really don't want to modify this in case I need to put it all back together the way it was. And I'll do the same thing on it. I'll just make it to where I've got a socket end that fits that nut. And so I can use this, or I could use my impact to raise and lower the trailer jack. So here's where I'm at so far. So I found a bolt in my bolt drawers that matches up to the shaft size perfectly. Turns out this is exactly 1/2 inch, and so I just grabbed a 1/2 inch bolt. This is a 1/2 inch by 4 bolt, and matched the hole size, which turns out to be a 5/32 or a 3.97 millimeter bit. So I've got that drilled. It was pretty easy, figuring out the hole position just based on the handle. So now I'm ready to assemble it, and then put my my long nut on there. Now, these aren't washers that are in here. I thought they were, but they're actually bushings. You can see they fit into the hole, and then they have a washer on the other side. So they're actually bushings. So I'm going to add a washer on the outside, and noisy birds are getting started. And I can actually run this through 2 different directions, but the direction I want my socket to be on is this side. This will actually be facing the trailer. So this will be facing the truck, this will be facing the trailer, and I want that side to be where my my tool fits on. Hole lined up. Put my pin in, which I'll probably do that off camera, because I'm gonna have to hammer that in. Actually, I can probably do that real quick. Okay, I'll have to finish it off camera, because I'm gonna have to get it in the vise. But anyways, that's in position now, and So as you can see, I just need to finish getting that in there. And then on this side, I'll have probably another washer, and that nut will fit just snug up against it, you know, not tight obviously, but just snug up against it. And then it'll be an elongated nut that I can fit a socket on to use to raise and lower the trailer. And then on this piece, I'll put the same size socket on it as well, and that way I can use the handle manually if I need to, you know, if my battery dies on my impact, or I'm just in a situation where I need the handle. So put a washer on this side. Of course, it's got the bushing that's built in on the inside. We've got the pin into the gear. The bushing is still there, didn't change anything. Then on this side I added 2 washers, and that was just so that when the nut's on all the way, it's resting up against those washers, so there's not a lot of slop in that shaft, because I want to make sure that these gears stay in good contact. So then, of course, this isn't the right socket, but and this isn't the right impact. This is my small impact, but basically you'll be able to put your impact on there, my 1/2 inch impact, to raise and lower. Now the one thing that I have left to do, also, this is what I put on, and all it is just a 1/2 inch nut, or a nut for 1/2 inch. It's just a 1.5 inches long, and it takes what size socket did I get? Yeah, 11/16. So it takes an 11/16 socket. So I got a socket to put on the handle, so I'll have that, and then I got an impact socket just for my impact to keep on it. So what I need to do now is obviously add some grease back in here for the gears. Now this box was not full of grease, it just had a good, you know, glob of grease basically on all the moving parts. And then after that, this cap goes back on, and then on each side it has this bolt. Do that one-handed. There we go. That bolt that goes through the nut on the back side. So that's basically what you end up with. Now, I mentioned before the way this jack goes on the trailer. This is the front, so this faces the tongue, or this faces the hitch rather. So I wanted this on the back side so that, you know, my handle or my impact is back here on the back side out of the way. You could do that on either side, just simply turning that bolt around, and it'll work either way. The one thing that I do have left to do before I assemble everything is that I'm going to, you can see how far that goes in. So there's about 3/8 of an inch between the end of this and the bolt. Now I was going to tack weld that, and then the more I thought about it, I'm like, you know, what if I want to change it? I don't really feel like dragging my welder out, all that stuff. So what I'm going to do is exactly the way the gear is done. I'm going to drill the same size hole again and just put a cold rolled pin. These are tension pins, so I'm just going to put a pin through it, you know, probably back in here, and then I'll just clean it off where it's even with the Alright, so I didn't get to finish recording the other day, but I did get the jack done. Got it installed, jack foot's on. Anyways, it works great. So it works good with my impact. I've also got my my heavy duty rigid 18 volt on the low setting. Actually works better, and mainly just because it's quiet. You know, an impact's really loud, whereas a drill is super quiet. So I'm gonna set up the camera and getting ready to hook up the truck, go mow this morning, so I'll show you how it works. guys picking up the truck and everything. Super happy with how that turned out, and it's going to save me a lot of work. So it's just one of those little things, but like I said, you know, dropping the trailer every day, you know, this is something that I do every day. Drop the trailer off, hook it back up the next morning, you know, and if I wasn't a firefighter and this wasn't my only vehicle, I'd just leave it hooked up. But because I use this truck for everything, you know, when I get done mowing at the end of the day, it's a good idea to drop the trailer, and that way I'm ready to run a fire call if I need to. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Get out there and make some money, and we'll catch you on the next one.